Hey everyone, welcome back to Inventing Construction. I'm Ross Griffin. Today's podcast, we're going to consider the outsourcing of quantity surveying services and the value that that brings for small to medium enterprises, contractors, specialist contractors, and how they can increase their quality and reduce their risk by finding a partner like Paddy. Subtopics today: what are the advantages of outsourcing the service? Is it not an expensive solution to the traditional alternative of having it in-house? How is the approach different? And where do you see the specialisation going in the future? Today we have Paddy Carroll. Welcome, Paddy. It's wonderful
Ross,
to have you here.
I feel like a celebrity here.
Celebrity, absolutely. Yeah.
Have I met it?
Yeah. Have we all met it? What's going on, you know?
When I get asked these podcasts, I'm kind of going, oh my God.
Wonderful. Let's see what we can do and push them in social media later now.
Thanks for the introduction. I know that friends and family and my business partners will be looking at this going, oh my God, what's this man going to say here?
Wonderful, yeah. We can always edit it out, so it's okay. But Paddy, give a bit of an introduction to yourself. So, who are you? Your history, your background, your present, and
well,
future.
I'm 42 years of age. I have always worked for contractors or on behalf of contractors. I always was drawn to contractors. My dad was a ganger man or a foreman all his life, so we come from a very working class family.
Yeah.
Just really enjoyed the buildings from a very young age.
Yeah.
But what really stuck out to me in the summer times when I was working with my father was we used to be in the dirty boots and whatever, pouring concrete or whatever, sweeping out buildings, whatever. But I used to always see these guys coming in with the suitcase and the nice suits and the shirt and tie. I said, you know what is, those guys have a handy job.
Yeah.
Right?
What did they do?
So they were quantity surveyors.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what is, I want to be one of them. Little did I realise.
Yeah.
So I did the degree and the whole lot, but got working with a small and medium-sized builder in Kilkenny.
Yeah.
And I learnt my trade. Yeah. I don't call it a profession from my side, I call it a trade. So it's a quantity surveying trade.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it was that builder got me on the sites.
Yeah.
Out you go, see how a hole is dug, see how long it takes a block clear, how long does it take to do a flush joint and brickwork or whatever it is. How long does it take to put a manhole together, whatever depth it is? Formwork, got to learn off all the subcontractors about this. But the most important thing was that I'm a people's person.
Yeah.
So when I rock up on site, or any of the lads that work on the team rock up on site, it's that we're talking to the guys that are actually doing the work. So we actually like to go in and say to the carpenter, how many meters did you do in skirting today?
Yeah.
Or to the painter, would you paint that ceiling? How long will it take you? Yeah. And that information, believe it or not, is so key to what we do as an estimating and pricing project. Yeah. So about 5 years ago, a new challenge approached to me, i.e. lecturing.
Yeah.
And
teaching the young.
Teaching the young. Yeah. And unfortunately, Paddy just didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I seen a gap in the market. Yeah. And the reason why I seen a gap in the market, the numbers just weren't coming out of college for quantity surveying. Yeah. And what's after happening in the last couple of years is that QSs are being poached, i.e. who can pay the biggest money to get these QSs. So I said, you know what it is? For the small and medium-sized builder, there has to be a way of them having a QS to watch over their projects or to do their estimating or whatever. So lo and behold, 5 years ago, came home to my dear wife, Niamh. Niamh, I'm starting Carrol Estimating on Monday morning. Yeah. Our first invoice was for €200. Yeah. I was finished at 11 o'clock.
Lovely. Yeah, it's a great
Blank
story.
Screen.
Great story.
Didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. I now had a mortgage, a business head, and kids and a family to provide for. Guess what?
It's a big risk.
We picked up the phone.
Yeah.
So my first port of call was people that I worked with in the industry, previous competitors, as in contractors.
Yeah.
I'm starting to do this, doing measures, I'm doing costings, and doing estimating. Yeah. Paddy, we'll give you the first job. Yeah. Slowly by slowly. Yeah. Got our first employee. Yeah. We're now up to 10. Yeah. Okay. So I now see that small and medium-sized builder, who is the hero in our story, we want you guys not only to make money, but not to make money not to leave money on the table. Yeah. That's key to us. Yeah. You're doing a job. Yeah. Please get paid for it.
Yeah. And you deserve to get paid for it at the end of the day. That's the way it is, you know.
That's
we talk an awful lot about collaboration between stakeholders and so on. And the industry at the moment, I think, is a little bit damaged, I guess. There's a leftover of the Celtic Tiger years and then the strains on everybody, as we can remember from kind of the recession and the difficulty for survival. And it has left a little bit of a bad taste, I think.
It has, and a legacy debt now is it's an awful thing.
Yeah.
However, the younger builder, or even the older builder, how do you stand out in the crowd?
Yeah.
Okay, so oftentimes, and we're all on social media, this pristine building or whatever. But what have you done as a company to get to that level? Why has that company, or why has that person or client gone with you? Yeah. Is it because you're the cheapest?
Yeah.
Or is it because of the three things? It's quality, it's within budget, and time. It's very hard to get those three. And if one suffers...
Yeah, well, they all suffer, don't they?
They all suffer, you know. So what we try to do for that small builder is, and our message to our builders and to contractors all over the place between Ireland and the UK is that you have a chance to partner with us, a team of quantity surveyors, for less cost than a QS employee. Yeah. And the reason for that, Ross, and you know this all too well, quantity surveying has gone very expensive.
Yeah.
And quantity surveyors can command, especially in capital cities, or in cities around Ireland, anywhere from 80 to 100 and something thousand, on top of the benefits on top of that. Yeah. Now, you're putting your business in the hands of a quantity surveyor that you probably don't really know. Yeah. Okay? And they have to bed into the business to see,
figure out the culture, etc.
Pick up the culture. How do you work as a business? Where is your forte? Are you into refurbs? Are you into data centers? Are you just a civils contractor? Yeah. Are you into AC? Yeah. Are you just a mechanical, electrical contractor? So you, as a business owner of that construction company or specialist, you are very dependent on that QS to make you money. Yeah. So what we find is, and what we find of late, is that you've brought in that quantity surveyor into your business, and next minute, 4 to 5 or 6 months, that quantity surveyor can actually hand you a notice of resignation. Because maybe they've been offered a better package. They mightn't like the style of your business. Yeah. So what I say to our builders is that, guys, Carrol Estimating is here.
Yeah, it's going nowhere.
I can't go anywhere. It's a business. Yeah. And I want to work for you guys. That's particularly why we just work for contractors, because I just have that graw for them. We don't, I let you guys do the PQSing. We do have our boxing matches, but no, in all seriousness, no. And I will say to these guys that, lads, I would rather be on a job where there's a QS sitting across the table from me, because we have an understanding.
I speak the same language.
We speak the same language, and that goes for me speaking language of our contractors. I don't want to be talking about big words or whatever, or legal terms regarding contracts. I want to be talking in, right, you go in, you do a job, here's your markup, here's your margin, cover your overheads, Bob's your uncle, get the job done in whatever time limit it is, out the gap, get paid, on to the next job.
But it's an interesting... I follow you on social media, of course, Paddy, and I see the progression and development over the last number of years, which has been amazing. And it's a niche area, albeit that profession has been around for years, but it's a niche area to specialise in servicing the contractors and specialist subcontractors in what is now an alternative kind of relationship and contractual structure.
Yes, 100%. Like, we will get many inquiries from contractors. We are not a freelance company. And the reason why we're not a freelance company is because a freelance, more or less, is just one or two people. Yeah. Okay.
Self-employed, I guess.
There is only so much one person can do in a day, right? And time is a commodity. We all have the same time. But when we bring a team to the party, and when a contractor has access to that team, so if John is out tomorrow, Peter picks it up or Mary picks it up, and there's always a constant flow that people know as we partner with these construction companies. Do you know what it is? They actually do look out for us. They do have our back. And not only does that, you can imagine how that shows their clients, the professionalism behind them. You know, I have a team behind me. Okay, I have my employees who have been absolutely loyal to us, and I wouldn't be here sitting with you here today without them. But also I have a marketing team. I have a content provider behind me. I have a VA, a virtual assistant. I said to one of my contractor partners the other day, I'll be talking to Tierna there, my VA. And he said, what's a VA? I said, a virtual assistant. Where is she? She's in Spain. But she looks after the diaries.
Yeah.
She looks after the guys, the way the work happens. Yeah. But this is the way it's moving now.
Yeah, 100%.
Because quantity surveying has changed. And you know, as a business owner, Ross, we wear many hats. And that goes back to the contractor.
Yeah.
If you're a contractor, a small and medium-sized contractor, and you're trying to expand or you're trying to get busy or whatever, that contractor more or less is wearing every hat of that business. You are the director.
She's carrying everything. Yeah.
You are the procurement manager. Yeah. You're the finance controller. Yeah. You're actually the guy that's actually going down to the merchants to get the timber off the shelf, because you've got a team of subcontractor or your own direct employees that are dependent on you to keep the whole thing going. And that is not easy.
No.
And to be honest with you, you can't, even if you work harder, you don't get any time back.
No. And the problem with that,
time.
No, and the problem with it is people are putting themselves under pressure and stress as business owners because they're trying to do it all.
Yes.
And we have a motto internally in Cosmos. We're the experts in cost. We're not the experts in everything else. We outsource it all. Yeah. The videographers and the guys in the podcast.
Yeah, the guys here today,
Outsource. Yeah. Build the relationships, build the partnerships, but do what you're good at. Yes. And then find partners that are good at everything else. And if you can do that, it can release that pressure from you. Because if you build the trust, is what you're trying to do with your partners. Build the trust. They know you're there. You know they're there. And together, then your businesses can grow. And that, I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. If I was to ask you a question though, and for all the listeners out there and the contractors and specialist contractors, what's the advantage of outsourcing this type of service? And I know we touched on a few of the points there earlier on in terms of numbers of people and resource requirements, etc.
So the advantage is obviously it's a more competitive rate. And that is that you can put that cost of a quantity surveyor back through your projects, okay? When you have a direct employed QS, they are going to cost more, i.e. your prelims and your overheads are going to be a lot more expensive. And unfortunately, construction is not cheap. No. And the more you add to your team, the more your overheads get multiplied. Yeah. Your overheads, your insurance, etc., your PI insurance, if you have to go for that and all that kind of crack. Another thing is time. Yeah. We see contractors that are leaving the house at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to a site for 7:30. Yeah. Wearing all those hats to try to get the day ready. Yeah. Productivity. Yeah. How do I maximize productivity? Yeah. Now, there's this little stat. If you waste 30 minutes to 40 minutes each day and you get that back in productivity, you will have 22 days back. Yeah. That's a month's productivity that you will have back due to time. Yeah. And that's a
time you can never get back, yeah.
But that contractor is working all day, taking phone calls from left, right and centre. So the next minute you have a quantity surveyor, an architect, we want a cost on an extra manhole. Yeah. I'll get back to you. Yeah. 2 weeks down the road,
I don't have the time. No.
They ring up the likes of ourselves. Yeah. That's looked after. Yeah. Same with final accounts, same with variations, all that. But that contractor is coming home in the evening time, maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. Next minute, I've got to get into the paperwork. Yeah. Who starts to suffer? The family.
The families, yeah, of course.
And you've worked hard so all during the day, during the week, and all you want is a little bit of peace and me time. Yeah. All right? That's where we can offer it. Yeah. That's where specialists like ourselves to say, no, we look after your money part of your business. Yeah. Okay, a trust element has to come into it, but we're actually going to give you back that half an hour or that hour or that 2 hours that you're wasting, that you're probably not putting into the costings that's keeping your business alive.
You don't have the enthusiasm at that stage to do it after filling a day's work and having to come back.
And we're seeing more and more in this country that a lot more jobs are coming out, especially the 500,000s or up to the million are coming out in a blue form or contract, which is drawings and specification. Yeah. You have to go get it measured. Yeah. You have to go price it. You've got to go out to your supply chain. Yeah. Guess what? Yeah. We can do all that for you on your behalf.
Yeah. So really outsourcing is creating a number of different things for the contractor. It's releasing time so that they can actually concentrate on the business as opposed to the doing. it's much easier to get people to do the work than actually you do it, because you as a business owner need to think as well. You need space for thinking.
Yep.
Strategizing your business, what you want to do with your business, etc. But also that security aspect there, that if they get 3 or 4 jobs in the door on a Monday morning and they're looking at it going, how am I going to deal with this? Go, well, hang on, we've our solution providers here. Reach out to you guys, and you guys provide that service for them. Of course, selecting one of your videos a while back was selecting which tender to select, or how do you select a good tender?
Very important. Yeah.
Not that 4 come in and you decide, actually, I'm going to do all 4. You go, no, hang on a second. What requirements are around this, and are they actually good tenders? Are they good projects? Would they turn into disasters?
To believe it or not, and people don't realize, some clients don't realize this, that when you're sitting across the table from a contractor, although you're interviewing the contractor is actually interviewing you.
Of course they are. Yeah. It's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street, because the contractor wants to know, right, first of all, do I want to work with you? Number 2, am I going to get paid off you? And it's number 3, are we all going to work together? So the stakeholders, i.e. the design team, the PQS, the clients themselves, and the contractor. And do you know what it is? It's a two-way street between the design team and the contractor for the benefit of the client. We all want, and I'll just go back to the analogy of the home, the house, the people's house or the refurb. This is their castle. This is the biggest investment that they'll ever do, right? More or less. There's mortgages involved. There's repayments. There's interest. You've got to be, the contractor really wants to feel that I'm being appreciated here. And that's why when we see cheaper prices on projects, that it's just not, there's an element of friction there straight away. The best projects we're on is when there's open lines of communication. Believe it or not, the builder that submits that quotation, he or she has submitted that quotation because they want to work with you. Number 2, you will get more value out of that contractor than what that quotation is.
Because 100%. Because they're comfortable in the fact that they've priced it comfortably. They're making their margin. They know that they have enough money for the management of the project. They know that they have their subcontractor supply chain in order. They're not under pressure. No. So you'll end up getting more out of it.
So I always, a quick one I always say, and I kind of make this as a joke when we're in meetings with clients, and I say the best time now to talk to the builder here is on a Friday around 2:00 when the day is nearly on, and ask him, will you throw up a few blinds for me?
It's a weekend time. I'm out of here.
Will you put down the floor for me there? It's a laminated floor. And I guarantee the builder will just go, do you know what it is? As a goodwill gesture, we'll put that in for you.
It's interesting how it's similar throughout the entire industry. We speak to our clients about how do you select the best contractor. And we always tell them that, look, price is irrelevant. Forget about price, because the price will be whatever the price will be at the end of the project. We will set the budget. The contractor will give you a price, no doubt. But if you don't have good quality design material, documentation, good quality negotiation, good quality contract, and a good quality process in place with the relationship, then your project is doomed and your budget is doomed. So forget about price. Concentrate on all those other aspects first. Get them right, and you will get the best price and best value for your project.
Yeah, and we get that every week. So we have the guys that we partner with. So when we go to negotiate a project, okay, we might have priced it that it's over budget, but we as a package to the contractor will say, look guys, we can actually get that down, whether it's 50,000 or 40,000. We'll make a few recommendations to you. So we're already now invested, and we're actually helping you because we want to build that building. And not only that, we say to our clients, look guys, pick up the phone. Our surveyors, and this is why I think contractors appreciate what we do. We're on the sites with them. We're not, and I put up a post lately about being the desk jockeys. No,
that's us. That's us, by the way. Thanks,
I want the guys on site. I really want them to go, because at the end of the day, people buy from people.
I know.
And they want to look you in the eye and go, are you sincere here?
It's still tradition. It's still tradition to do it that way. Yeah, that's
big time.
That's the human nature.
It's human nature of it. And I think sometimes we forget that this is a human nature thing. Construction is a human nature thing. Okay, it's different, obviously, when we work for specialist contractors, because sometimes they're subcontracted into larger main contractors. We're there to help them with their contracts. And the reason
it's not the client relationship part per se. Yeah.
But we're watching them regarding their payment claims. So what happens is we noticed there with we'll give an instance of a groundworks contractor who we work with a few around the country, that sometimes before they were just putting in their payment claims. I'll throw it in there on the 7th week after we started.
Yeah.
We completely change that around. Payment claim goes in a calendar month. Yeah. It has to go back and forth. Yeah. We'll do all the paperwork, the measurements and the whole. And guess what? Yeah. Our QS will go meet the main contractor's QS and come to an agreement on that payment application. Yeah. And you know what it is? Yeah. It saves so much time and effort. Yeah. Records, and more records. The more evidence you have, the easier it is to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of supports that claim, if you were ever to go to arbitration, and I know I hate that term because we should never be there.
No, should never. There's only one winner there.
And the only reason we're there is personalities at the end of the day. It has nothing to do with anything, only personalities. Yeah. We couldn't agree something and that came down to people. But it's the entity with the best records that can prove their case and support with those records that are inevitably going to win in those arbitration cases. So we would always say is prepare your project for arbitration, but don't ever get as far as that.
Never get there.
But just prepare yourself, and that's just your documentation and so on. But if I was to...
Just go back on Ross, and people forget this, right? You've got a QS on the other side and a QS on our side. And I always say to the guys that you have an opinion, the QS on the other side has an opinion. Yeah. It's how you guys can come together and come to an agreement, not putting the head in the sand. Yeah. Because, and I would say this to any couple or any client or any contractor or whatever, there's always room for negotiating. Yeah. We do not want to go to court. No, that's the last place we all want to be. There's always mixing, and look, we all know the crowds around that are doing the mediation, the conciliation, the whole lot. That's the next step. Yeah. But if we can meet face to face,
if we can do it ourselves,
if there's a few bob in between us, what happens if we do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
There's and you know what it is? The weight is off the shoulder.
Yeah. And everything is much easier after that, But I guess we talked again a little bit about it, and there's always the view that it's more expensive to outsource than it is to do it yourself in house. I actually had the conversation yesterday with Kong internally about outsourcing versus doing it in house. And again, I'll go back to my statement: we're the experts in cost. We're the experts when it comes to commercial. We're not the experts in all the other elements. So why then would we try to bring it in house? But that idea that outsourcing is much more expensive. What's your experience from your clients?
Okay, I'll actually break it down, because this is a conversation I have with contractors, because when we do our it's kind of a retainer kind of a system where we actually are partners with the contractor. So I will put to the contractors, I said, there is actually only 48 weeks that people work in a year, but you've got to pay them for 52. Okay, there is only so many hours in a week that they do. The standard is 39. Okay, if they have to travel, they might get to 50 or 60. You then have to pay them whether they want a car, laptop, software. You have maternity leave, you have paternity leave, you have POE, PRSI. So although they might be on a salary of 80,000, that 80,000 is actually 100 and something thousand.
They say 30% or something.
30% more, right? Yeah. Whereas now you're paying cheaper for an outsourcer that's actually on your team, right? That's going nowhere. Whereas the QS or that person could just walk out that door tomorrow with all that knowledge in their head, gone, absolutely gone within a couple of weeks or whatever. So what I say to the builders is, you're oh my God, Paddy, I thought you'd be a lot cheaper. But we're trying to say, we're partnering with you. We're building this trust element here with you, that when we rock into the room, we're working on your behalf. So I treat your business as my business.
My own, of course,
and I have no qualms to say it. And it's probably, some people call it a dirty word, profit. We're in the business to make profit.
Businesses have to make money or they won't survive. This is the thing about our industry. Everyone in our industry deserves to make that profit margin. 100%. And I have no problem paying our contractors, our suppliers, our partners, their margin. Why else would we be in business together?
That is the fundamental thing. And that's where we try to focus our guys, when the contractors do come involved with us, we ask a lot of questions of them. So we actually delve into their overheads.
Yeah.
So we want to say, right, guys, when we are actually hoping to win you that job, we actually know what your costs are.
Is it a 3% or is it a 13%?
Have you a contracts manager? Have you a project manager? Have you a QS? Have you a 2S? But we also work with companies that actually have commercial teams. But we're there as a guidance to them, because sometimes they mightn't have the knowledge. So the guys that we have working with us, they have knowledge of contracts. They have knowledge of the Irish contractors contracts. We've NEC contracts. We've FIDEC and the whole lot. So, like I said, for instance, there we look after a fairly substantial railway company in Ireland that have come over from the UK. But most of their contracts are NEC or FIDEC. Okay, so I have to have a guy, or the company Carrol Estimating have to have someone with expertise in that. And thank God, Kieran is he's exceptional at what he does. But the other guys that work with us bring their own talents. So I can go, when guys ring me, Paddy, I want to work with you. Okay, Tom is going to work with you. David is going to work with you. Caleb.
You're getting 4, 5, 6 for the price of one, basically, here in terms of knowledge base, right?
So then next minute what happens is, like I often see from construction companies, the commercial manager is sending out tender packages. That person has been paid too much to send out tender packages. And I'm not trying to be...
It's not efficient. It's not efficient for the hour you're paying that individual.
That now will come to a company like ourselves. We'll go out to the market, to your supply chain, through the softwares, and obviously we'll be talking about software shortly, through the softwares that we have, that we've invested in to help you along. We know how much per hour we're paying our guys and how efficient the whole thing works. You don't have to worry about, am I going to get a price back? Because we'll help you get that price. And we're all in the market, believe it or not, to get that price as quick as possible.
And efficiently as well, right? Without effort. And I think that there was a point you made earlier that I think is something we should recall, and it's got to do with the process you develop with your team internally, the standardizations you put in place. It creates a quality level and an efficiency level. If you're a builder with 1 or 2 QSs, you're relying heavily on that individual or those individuals to help you as the builder to have those standards and efficiency. And they might not necessarily have that if they don't have a flair for it. And those values then that you're bringing as a partner kind of improve the business, the client-facing relationship, the quality of documentation, the tender you're submitting, what that looks like in terms of its design, et cetera, all has an impact on the feeling from the client's perspective of that contractor. The efficiencies you're creating in the standardization improves the quality and the quality that you submit for your client to their clients. And that has an impression on that client going, actually, this builder, it's nice, it's tidy, clean, it's good quality, well structured, all of that stuff has an impact on their decision making, maybe indirectly, but it still has an impact on their decision making.
And you're so true, Ross, because how do you stand out in the crowd? You've got to be disruptive. You've got to.
It has to be different.
And I'll go back to, and I don't mean to be whatever, but if you look at Instagram and you look at LinkedIn, because we're all on it, okay?
No, we're not. I don't know what you're talking about, Paddy. We're not on LinkedIn.
Every builder says the same thing. Every PQS says the same thing, and every quantity surveyor says the same thing. We are this, we are that, we are this. Flip it. What problem are you solving? Maybe people don't want to see the picture of the manhole.
No.
What is your procedure to get that manhole? If you didn't go with us, what would that manhole look like? What would that building look like if you went with the cheapest builder? Okay? So we are, not only are we doing their cost management for them, right? We're actually telling these guys about their branding. Because that person that owns that business is a brand. You are the brand. And no different that you are the Cosmos to me to Carrol Estimating. Now, if you said to my content and marketing person or strategist, Deirdre, a couple of years ago that she wanted to put me in front of a camera, I would have told her to.
Are you joking? Are you joking with Deirdre?
So, but I've learned now. And I've been taught to be comfortable in these settings and tell your story.
It's only, and that's all it is. It's a story at the end of the day.
And that tradesperson. So when I say to the guys when they rock in and they see an electrician up on the whatever he is doing his light fishing, I say walk past them and go, the only ones making money here are electricians. I walk past and he's looking at you going, who's this fecker?
No, that's wonderful.
And that's the rapport we have with these guys. But I'll go back to the yoke. There's so many of us out there It's how you present yourself. Yeah. Do you go the extra mile on your tender application? Not only do you send a quotation with a bill of quantities, do you send a brochure about the company? Yeah. Do you say, we do X,
do you wrap it up nicely?
Do you wrap it up nicely?
What's the presentation?
Like the Tiffany box.
Yeah.
Do you wrap it up nicely?
Yeah.
Do you, when they open it up? Yeah. And if it just comes down to price, I say, maybe this client is not for you. Yeah. Okay. And that, 100%. And I think that's the way we're going in business and going as a construction industry. I think people now know their worth, or they're trying to know their worth. Yeah. But you just need to get paid for it.
No. I think, it's ever evolving, but there's huge opportunity there. And if you go back to what you mentioned about social media and the stories that, we're doing this, we're doing that, but no one really talks about the issues or the problems that we're having in the industry. No one talks about, the dirty side of it, and the challenges and relationships. And that's what we're trying to do here in this conversation, is get all that on the table so we can learn from it and then hopefully not repeat it in the future. Come on,
Ross, I have challenges. Our business has challenges. And I told you before this thing, software. Yeah. For us to implement new software into a business, it takes a cultural shift. Yeah. Because you get so used to something, it's very hard to change the mindset, because the first thing you'll say about that new software is, it doesn't do this.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And as we spoke before, Paddy, there's 10 things, but it only does 6 of them properly. Yeah. And the 4 other things are just added on, But as a progressive company like ourselves, we are constantly pushing to see, right, what's this
the
new
possibility
Like California, I was on a talk last week, a podcast, or listened to a training of a new AI of measuring light fittings, to measuring manholes, to measuring gullies, that this software now can read a drawing like a face recognition technology.
That's right. Yeah.
And next minute this yoke just pops out the numbers to you. Like, this is speed and time.
Yeah, Bluebeam does a piece like that. You can take a picture of something like a manhole or a light, and it'll count all. If it's down to the quality of the drawing and all of that stuff. But in general, like, if you consider how long it would take you to
click,
if it's click, or it's a count with a highlighter,
we've come a long way from highlighters.
Well, it could still be that.
It could still be there.
But like, how long it takes and how inefficient it is. We always chat about the foundation, I use the analogy of the foundation. If I measure the foundation, a concept, if I'm doing it manually, the design is updated. I need to remeasure that same foundation at schematic design. I'm going, design is updated, next gateway. I'm going back again. This is my 3rd time to the same foundation. Yeah. If I'm a good QS, I should remeasure it just to make sure that there's no changes or impacts that we don't know about. Detailed design, what am I doing? I'm going straight back to that same foundation, and I'm remeasuring for the bill of quantities. And then when there's change, what am I doing? I'm going back again, remeasuring. And you're going, wow, the inefficiencies in it all,
Unbelievable. And as a quantity surveyor, revisions, they are the thorn in our side.
Because you need to figure out what has happened.
Yes.
You need to figure out the story that someone has put in front of you here. Clouded or not clouded, what's going on? And has something happened to the change from the previous drawing to where we are now? Oh my God, it's like a maze or a treasure hunt.
And I said before this, there is really only maybe 1 or 2 softwares where everyone can communicate. And one of those softwares that constantly within our industry is Excel. Yeah. Right? So as a contractors QS, we are investing in these new softwares that are coming. We are testing these softwares for these contractors at the moment. And we're telling these guys, we're going with this company because we're starting to see a shift that these other companies, and we're trying to move along with those as well, especially with the larger companies, if they're using a certain software that we can integrate with them. Yeah. And next minute they go to us, Carrol Estimating, can you look after the tender, get out the packages first? Absolutely, no problem.
For me, it's a radical shift from a contractor's perspective to outsource that element. But the efficiencies and the qualities that creates, it really can't be denied, I would say. But where do you see the specialisation, this type of service or this type of specialisation going in the future? For Carrol Estimating, for example?
People want stuff in a hurry.
Yeah.
Okay? So tender times are getting tighter and tighter because there's money involved. Someone may have
time is money.
Time, and that literally, time is money. Yeah. And it's just the function. We cannot borrow time, we can't hoard time, and we can't work harder for time because we all have the same time.
No, this is it. Yeah.
So it's coming faster. Yeah. You now have surveyors now that are probably going, do you know what it is? I want to do it myself. Yeah. I want to be my own person. I want to be my own business. I'm going to give you a service. Yeah. Contractors are looking at it to go, why do I need to employ someone where I can outsource it? And if, for instance, you don't get on with that company, we just move on. Yeah. Okay? And that's that, to have that power and to just say, sorry, look, it just didn't work. Yeah. Let's move on. Yeah. What I see with contractors, the small and medium-sized contractors, is, Ross, is that when they come in, they dip their toes in, they want you to price a job, and you don't hear from them again for another 6 or 7 months. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. But you're not getting the true value.
No. You're not building the relationship.
You're not building a relationship. And what I find is the contractor goes off, wins the job and does their finances, and then comes back to price another job. But you're not as a partner getting to learn, right, what is your business about? Because I want to hear the story of your business. I really want to know, well, where did you come from? Yeah. How did you get successful? Yeah. What have you done that maybe I can do as a business in business, you know?
Improve and learn from people.
And when I get to meet these people, like, contractors have fascinating stories of where they've come from. How, like, majority of them come from a trade background, right? Maybe have left school early, right? They would absolutely school you in business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and you're learning all the time, but they either were the plasterer, they were the carpenter, maybe they were just the general
or the concrete contractor,
groundworks, but they seen a gap in the market and said, you know what it is, and the reason why we're in business and we provide a service because we think we can do it better.
Yeah. It's an interesting development over the last few years for you guys, for sure, and I'm really liking the shift now on your social media and the change and that the storytelling. You can see it, you know, and again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have to talk about it all in order to really learn how to improve it. Otherwise, what we're doing is brushing it under the carpet. And in Ireland, we're great at brushing stuff under the carpet. Actually, our carpets are full. You know, the carpet's on top of the house and the roof now is what we're doing, you know. But we need to get all that crap out there so that we can really, you know, just be free to talk about it.
Look, I do get there's a trust element out there, right? That you're dependent on the other person across from you. But believe it or not, there are instances where we see contracts coming back where a specialist contractor has given a price and the contractor has agreed to it. Yeah. And then the contract comes back for signature. Yeah. And we've seen contracts where clauses have been put back in.
Really, yeah.
Yes.
Because, all right, okay.
You shouldn't sign up to this.
Out of the negotiations, you negotiated the clauses out, signature comes in, okay, no one is QAing the new documentation, and suddenly the clause is back in again.
And I'll give you a very, very simple instances. Obviously, I'm not going to mention names.
Do you reckon that wasn't by accident, do you think?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So what will happen is that we'll just go for very large projects. Yeah. So we'll just say for a second fix package on a carpentry package. Yeah. Like, there could be thousands of meters of skirting, thousands of doors. Yeah. So we had an instance about 4 months ago where the specialist contractor was a second fix carpenter, right? And we priced the job for him. Job was agreed. But we kind of looked at the quantities to say the quantities look
strange, low. Yeah.
Now, the QS on the other side, don't forget all that. I know that it's a low quantity. You'll be grand, right? That's fine. That's no problem at all. So the subcontractor suddenly got his contract. Yeah. And on that was that this project is non-remeasurable.
Yeah. So lump sum fixed price quantities are your risk.
Subsequently, a question was asked, can the QS tell us what the real quantity is in the skirting board? We'll just say there was 3,000 meters in the BOQ. Yeah. It should have been 14,000.
Yeah. Like that would have put the contractor, a small builder, that would put them under.
That specialist contractor, if I multiply 10,000 meters, and I'm just going to say €4 a meter to fit that skirting, that's 40,000 euro.
That put a business under.
And you know, all we did was struck a line through that clause. Yeah. That guy is on site now. But it was a third eye.
And it would have been a case that wouldn't have been ever the issue until you went back to remeasure in 6 months, 9 months, a year's time, and suddenly you're reading the clauses going, something's not right here, hang on a second. We all thought this was remeasurable, but suddenly the contract signature, and that's what...
And this is where I go to. That QS could either move jobs, has said, oh, I'm a friend of a friend and I know this guy and he's sound and all that kind of crack.
Yeah.
Brilliant, no problem. He's my sister's brother's cousin's third, whatever. He said everything is okay. Next minute he's gone, new guy comes in and he goes, sorry lads.
That's what's in the contract. That's what you've signed up to.
What do you want me to do about it? And I think I will always say to any contractor, please read the contract before you sign, because the devil is in the detail.
Yeah, 100%. But Paddy, it's been great chatting to you today. And much appreciated. Yeah, great. Thanks for coming in, and hopefully we can do more in the future. You know?
Happy days, no bother.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to keep an eye on your LinkedIn and Instagram.
I'll keep an eye on it. My wife and friends to be saying, what is that lad saying now?
No, it's very good. Thank you very much, Paddy.
Appreciate that, Ross. Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening. There's a LinkedIn link below in the show notes. We would love to connect with you.
We hope you enjoyed it and have you with us in the next one. Thank you very much.